Hi, I'm Brittney Saunders and welcome to Big Business, the place where business is far from boring, and today I'm recording on Gadigal land. Now, I somehow managed to build an empire from my garage, and I'm here to share it all with you, from the wins, the huge mistakes, the challenging times, and funny moments in between. So whether you're in business already, you're wanting to start, or you're not even in business at all and you're just looking for some inspo, or you just want to hear the tea, this is the podcast for you. Coming up in today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you about a topic that some would consider to be slightly or maybe even completely controversial in the retail world. Our FAYT stores having no KPIs or budgets. And for those of you that aren't familiar with this, in most retail stores or businesses in general, the team working on the floor every single day will generally have budgets that they work with. These include daily budgets, weekly budgets, and so on. In most traditional retail stores, it is the responsibility of the store manager to ensure that their store is hitting all of their targets every day, and in most cases, they'll be questioned if they don't. At FAYT, we do not do that at all. I personally believe that retail employees shouldn't be pressured into making a sale or hitting a certain number of sales in a day. That shouldn't be on them. That is actually on me. So why don't we have KPIs? And how did we get into this in the first place? And how do we measure the performance of our stores and teams instead? I'm going to break it all down for you today and more. And as you know, time is money, so let's get down to business. So what is a KPI anyway? KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator. And by definition, KPI stands for a quantifiable measure of performance over time for a specific objective. KPIs provide targets for teams to shoot for, milestones to gauge progress, and insights that help people across the organisation make better decisions. From finance and HR to marketing and sales, key performance indicators or KPIs help every area of the business move forward at a strategic level. Now, I don't want any of you listening to this episode to get it twisted. I understand why KPIs exist. It's great to have goals as a business and to be able to look at everything from a technical and numerical standpoint. By me saying that our store teams have no KPIs doesn't in any way mean that we don't track their success or have no idea what their sales are. It's very important to be all over that when it comes to business. But in particular today, what I'm going to be discussing is why our store staff don't have their own KPIs and why they are not responsible for worrying about hitting a financial goal. Don't take anything that I'm saying today as advice. This is not advice. This is just me telling a story, because what works for us isn't always going to work for every other business. I don't want any of you out there with businesses, to go, I'm not going to have KPIs. I'm going to do everything the way Brittney does. This works for us. I'm going to tell you the reasons why I think it does work for us, but don't take this as advice. So why don't our stores have KPIs? And how did I make that decision? Well, it kind of just naturally happened. My first memory of KPIs is when I used to work in retail myself, back when I was a teeny bopper. I had lots of jobs back in the day, as you all know, and two of those jobs were in Maya, in the fragrance section. And then I also did a very, very short stint at Connor, the men's suits store. I honestly think I worked there for a month. And then at Maya, I think I worked there for a while, like maybe 6 months or a year or something like that. And that's when I was introduced to KPIs. I was 17 when I worked at Maya, and I think I was 17 when I worked at Connor as well, because I remember I had my Ps and I could drive myself to work. I'd never heard of KPIs before, but I remember getting to my shift at Maya, and every day, just say there's me and two other people on the floor for the duration of my shift. There would be a notepad set up behind the counter, and it was just handwritten with my name, Susie's name, and Jimmy's name, how long we were working for. So like Brittney, 5 hour, Jimmy, 2 hour, whatever. Not that you can do a 2 hour shift. And then we would have a financial goal for us written there. So it'd be like, Brittney, 5 hour shift, your budget is $2,132.24. Like, it was down to the fucking cent, because this shit is all calculated, right? And I just remember being 17 and reading that, and even though I had not the slightest clue about business back then, but I remember that felt wrong to me. Like, why do I have this fucking goal? Especially when, and again, I didn't have a business mindset back then, but just thinking back to it, like, why is it on me to hit that certain amount selling someone else's product when that's not my business at all? Like, I'm just here to help the customers and sell them the perfume kind of thing. Like, I remember having those thoughts back then. And same when I worked at Connor, and it's no shame to Connor. Don't want to shame Connor or the manager at the time. This is honestly, well over 10 years ago. I remember they were huge on their KPIs and like upselling, and especially because it's a men's suit store. I remember I'd worked there for a matter of weeks, and I'm this little shy 17-year-old. I'm not the confident woman that I am today, and I'm selling men's suits. Like, how interesting can it be? And I remember I'd been working there for a while. I think I'd honestly done a handful of shifts across like a few weeks, and the manager said to me, "Can we come outside and have a little chat?" Don't you fucking hate that? I mean, we do that too, but not to sit them down and talk about their KPIs. But why is it so scary when your manager goes, "Can we have a little chat?" So I went outside, Connor, and we sat down on the little lounges that were out the front in the middle of the walkway. And I remember the manager saying, "Now, I just want to have a chat with you about your performance." And then she had like written out or printed out like my average sales and stuff like that. And she's like, "I want to chat about like why you're not hitting your targets. And this is your average sale," like literally prying on me to the number. "This is your average sale, but we need you to be more around here. So let's work on you hitting your KPIs. And, I can see that you're selling a lot of customers just one item, but we really need to be selling the belt with the pants or like the matching shirt." And I remember her saying to me, "So like, why aren't you doing that?" And I just, I think I was still blunt like I am today. And I was like, well, the guys just come in and they just want a shirt. Like, they don't want a pair of pants. So I'm not going to force it on them. Why would I sell a customer a pair of pants if they only come in for the shirt? This makes no sense to me. And again, I wasn't in this business mindset, but I remember having these thoughts back then of this feels morally wrong to be forcing people to upsell things to customers who don't want those things. So yeah, I remember being introduced to KPIs at the age of 17 and thinking, this feels wrong. It doesn't feel right. But I never thought about that again after working in retail, but that was the first time that I was introduced to KPIs myself. So how did no KPIs come to be in FAYT and in our Newcastle store? Now, for those of you that have listened, you would already know, but I opened my Newcastle store back in 2019. And again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I really want to stress, when I opened that first store of ours, I had no idea what I was doing. When you're in business, you have no idea what you're doing. The only way that you learn to do what you need to do is just by giving it a go. So when I opened that store, it was underneath our office in that showroom on the ground floor. We pulled stock from our online warehouse, set it up in the store. I got the cash register. I got all the things. I think we might have had a daily cleaning checklist. Again, I didn't know what we needed and didn't need, but never at any point during that process of setting up that store before we opened in 2019 did I think, I'm going to put sales goals in, because my mindset was, fuck, I hope people come. Like, I never thought, let's go. We need to make $2,000 on Friday, $3,000 on Saturday, and then I'm going to split it in between all the people working. Like, no, it was a team effort. I was working every single day that we were open, and I had my employees that were working with me, and it was just a team effort. Our objective was open the doors, hope people come in, because I don't know if anyone's even going to come see us. Like, this is so scary. What the fuck? And when the customers do come in, let's just help them and they can find what they want. That was the mentality that I had when I opened that very first FAYT store in 2019. And I'm so proud to say that is the same mentality that I have today in 2024. That has never, ever changed for me. So having no KPIs just felt natural to me. And then we just carried that same thing through every single store we've opened since. It has never been part of our store openings. It's never been part of our company. It's never been part of our training. It's just always been that way. It's pretty cool as well having no KPIs, because when it comes to training a new employee or training a new team, for example, if we're opening a new store, I'm really happy to tell them about the way that our stores operate, and especially for our store managers who come from other retail places, I can only begin to imagine how different it is for them if they've come from managing another bigger retail store where it's very KPI and sales focused. It would be like a breath of fresh air for them walking in knowing there is no pressure to make the sale. What we say with our retail stores when we are training our teams is it doesn't matter if a customer is coming in to shop up an absolute storm and they're going to drop $800 on a brand new wardrobe, or if the customer is just coming in and maybe they're shopping with us for the first time and they're coming in, they just want to try everything on, they want to get a feel for the styles, they want to figure out their sizing and then leave empty-handed, and maybe they'll come back another day or they might shop online. I don't care if customers are coming in to do one or the other, those customers must have the exact same experience. In my mind, if your retail staff are motivated by numbers and have the mindset of needing to hit that sales target and upsell to hit their KPI, how on earth are they going to be able to give the same service to every customer? Because think about it, if you're motivated by numbers only and you need to hit your targets and you've had a quiet day and a customer comes in and you say, can I help you with anything today? And they say, oh no, thanks, I'm just coming in to try on some jeans today to figure out my sizing, but I'm not going to be purchasing. For us, we say, no worries, let me know if there's any certain sizes you want to try. I'll set up a change room for you. Whereas if your employee is driven by sales, they're going to leave that customer alone. They're not going to go and help that customer any further because they know that customer isn't going to make a purchase. Therefore, it's not going to help their KPIs. So then that customer is going to have a shit experience where they just shop on their own and walk out empty-handed. Whereas with us, it doesn't matter if someone's just coming to try on. We're going to give them that same service as if they were spending $800. Now, I'm sure everyone knows this, but when it comes to retail, you can tell when the teams are focusing on their KPIs. Have you ever walked into a store and felt like you were being watched by the staff? Have you ever had someone almost forcefully get you to try things on that you weren't interested in? Maybe you have been in the change room and they've thrown an extra couple of items over the door being like, I got you these two to try on. We've all experienced that time and time again. Or have you ever been upsold something at the counter when you're checking out? We all have. The problem with traditional KPIs is that it focuses solely on sales and numbers, and it can overlook the more important factors such as customer satisfaction and also employee morale. KPIs are not only just annoying for customers, they're so bad for teams, and I'm going to dive into that a little further. Now, based on my experience and a few friends who I've spoken to before I've recorded this episode, some of the negative effects that KPIs can have on employees in particular are as follows. Firstly, employees simply hating their job due to the KPIs. It takes all of the fun out of it, and they feel like their only objective is to hit that number every single day. I know so many people, and I know I hated KPIs when I worked in retail. It made me hate the whole job because of those stupid bloody numbers. Having KPIs can also cause managers to be extremely hard on themselves. I spoke to a friend who is in a high retail position in a big company before recording this episode, and they were telling me how they have stores all in New South Wales, and their best performing store had a bad month or something, or because they can even compare it to the year before. To be like, well, you did this last January and now it's January, but this is what you're doing. And they were saying that this store manager, who is amazing and it's the number one performing store in the state, was absolutely beating herself up, saying, I'm a failure because I didn't do as good as I did last January and I haven't hit my targets. And hearing that makes me feel sick because no employee working for any other company, no employee working for someone else's business should ever feel like a failure. Ever. Especially if you're working in retail, the customers are being served, the transactions are going through, the team is showing up to work. No manager should ever say, I feel like a failure because I didn't hit my sales targets. That makes me sick. And if I knew that any of my staff felt like a failure in their role, I would feel like I've failed as a business owner. Because how could anyone feel like a failure when they're working for someone else? you know what, fair enough if someone's completely fucked up and ruined something and, you know, the office is on fire or whatever, then you could go, fuck, what a failure I am to have this happen. But even then, like, you can figure it out. But especially when it comes to hitting something like a sales target, people should not be feeling like failures and being extremely hard on themselves because of those numbers. Staff hitting a number isn't our metric for success. There are so many other ways that staff metrics can be measured. Another one, KPIs can cause employee conflict, like they're being pitted against one another, fighting for the sale. And I've experienced this myself in previous roles where people would be rushing to the counter to get the sale or they'd steal the customer off you. It can cause your team to work against each other instead of together, which I don't see being a positive. KPIs can also cause staff to run when a customer comes in for a refund. Not for us, but in a lot of retail stores, when someone comes in for a refund, someone's got to put that through on their staff punch in, and then that's going to affect their KPIs, and then they get really upset like that. So then when customers come in to do a refund, you'll see staff running like away because they don't want to put the refund through. Especially for us, one other thing that we've trained our staff to do when we open new stores is that we want refunds and people bringing something back in because they don't like it. We want that to be a positive experience because taking something into a store is awkward enough as it is, and you always feel a bit bad or like you're going to be judged. And I know when I've returned things, it's like, hey, like I just want to return this today. And they're like, like it's always this like negative thing. And we say to our teams, even if someone is coming in, they're like, hey, like I don't like these jeans, I just want to return them. We want to make that a positive experience in itself and say, hey, that's no worries at all. Let me pop that through for you. Do you have any feedback for us on the product? Like we want to make what is usually a negative experience a positive one. And with it not affecting their KPIs, it's just a recipe for success. Another thing that I've heard, and the last one, is that KPIs can cause staff to learn ways to cheat the system. I've heard stories of people putting refunds through on other staff members' codes. And again, I don't have any experience in this, but it's just what I've heard. It can cause people to do tricky things and try and fiddle around with the numbers, which is, you don't want your staff to even have to try to think of how to do that. So you've learned by this point that we don't have sales targets in our stores. So what is our objective then? To help our customers. Picture this. You walk into a store and immediately you're greeted with a warm smile and genuine enthusiasm from your staff. As you're browsing through the racks, you're then offered personalised recommendations based on your preferences, and any questions you have are met with knowledgeable answers and a willingness to help. How does that make you feel? Pretty fucking good if you ask me. Our store teams are trained to be able to pick up on our customers' cues. Always smile and say hello. Let them know that we're here to help, but also know when to be able to recognise when customers don't want help at all. There are a lot of shoppers who just want to go, hi, and then stick to shopping by themselves. They want to do the whole things by themselves, and that's on us to recognise that. We're not going to continually hound someone to have our help, because that's what we're there to do if we can recognise that they are just happy to browse. And I think that's something that we do really well. That's the power of the customer experience, my friends. It's not just about making a sale. It's about creating a memorable and meaningful interaction that leaves a lasting impression. And here's the kicker. From my experience, when you prioritise the customer experience above all else, the sales tend to follow naturally. So why do we do it? Why do we place such a strong emphasis on the customer experience in our stores? Well, for starters, I believe that happy customers are bloody loyal customers. When you go above and beyond to provide an exceptional service and create memorable experiences, you build trust and loyalty with your customer base. And let me tell you, loyal customers are worth their weight in gold. We have so many amazing regulars in all 4 of our stores who feel like friends to our staff. And I hear our staff talking about the regulars that come in all the time. I even remember one time, Grace, our national retail manager, when she was working just in our Newcastle store, she's like, I was so friendly with the customer that I hugged her on the way out today. And she's like, why the fuck did I do that? But we are here to make friends with our customers. They are not just a target for us to go after and get a sale out of. But it's not just about the bottom line. Prioritizing the customer experience also allows us to differentiate ourselves from the competition. In a crowded marketplace where everything in retail and fashion can feel quite similar, the customer experience becomes a key differentiator. It's a way for us to stand out and then to attract and retain loyal customers. So how do we do it? How do we prioritize the customer experience in our stores? Well, it starts with investing in our people. I personally believe that happy, engaged employees are the cornerstone of a positive customer experience. The people that we choose to work with in our stores plays a huge part in our business, and finding people who are passionate about our brand mission and about our products is vital when it comes to us providing the service we want to. And I know I've said this already in my podcast. Having the right people working in your business is everything. Don't think that it's just this thing where you can just hire someone, yep, they'll get the job done. Again, depends on the business. I'm sure if it's like a big supermarket or whatever, they're not as particular as we are. But when it comes to us, especially for who we are as a brand, spending that time to find the right people to work for us is absolutely everything. And I will say, to add to this episode, I have been stung by retail employees in the past, more times than I would like to admit. It's really hard because whilst I'm so passionate about everything that we do at FAYT and everything that we do in our retail stores, and I'll sing to the top of my lungs on this podcast and on social media about all of this that I'm talking about today, like us having no KPIs, always helping the customer. I have been fucking burnt to the core by people that have worked for me in the past. And then I've had people reach out to me going, you say that you give great service and I went into XYZ store today and I didn't. I've been absolutely burnt. And that's one of the hardest things for me as a business owner, is putting that trust into people, me preaching what I preach online, and then experiencing that absolute letdown by our teams. And it's just a part of business that you cannot avoid, no matter how long you spend hiring someone, no matter how long you spend training them, people are still going to let you down. And I just want to say that because who knows, there might be someone listening that has gone into our store and had not the best experience, and I'm here saying, yeah, we're amazing, but it's just reality and part of business. And trust me, it fucking hurts me to the core when that happens, and it's inevitable, but I just thought I'd put that in there. Our customers having a great experience begins with us, hiring those right people, providing them with the training that they need, and fostering a supportive and inclusive work environment where everyone feels valued and appreciated. Your customers are not going to have a great experience if your staff aren't having a great experience. So you get it so far. We prioritise the happiness of our retail teams, ensure they feel supported by us, we ensure they feel trusted by us, and we give them the objective of being there to help our customers. This is all well and good and amazing, but is that enough to make the sale? Yes and no. What are some other factors that lead us to make the sale? There are two things: our store environment and, most importantly, our product. It's one thing to have no KPIs and not pressure your customers into the sale, but then if you've got a shitty shop that feels off and you have a shit product, it doesn't mean that you're automatically going to make the sale. I think the other thing that really works in our favour is the way that our stores are laid out. When customers walk in, it's an experience in itself to see the beautiful store. Everything's laid out beautifully. Visually, it's a great experience. They're met with the warm and welcoming service every time, I hope. But then what makes the sale then is the product. And that is something that we are very passionate about and we do very well at FAYT. If we didn't have a good product, we probably wouldn't obviously sell anywhere near as much as we do. But that's on me. The time and effort that we put into sampling all of our pieces and the way everything fits and the quality, that's what gets the sale over the line. When customers come in and they have that warm smile, they're helped if they want to. They're in the change room. They're trying things on. They're stepping out. We're giving them help. They put the products on. They go, oh my God, this is fucking great. Like, these jeans fit like nothing I've ever tried on before. Boom. There's the sale. And this is one of my favorite things about our retail stores. I know when it comes to online shopping, people are always really scared and iffy because they've been burnt a million times before by ordering online. It's absolute crap that falls apart within a wash and a wear. But what I love about our retail stores and the reason why I think they do so well is how blown away our community are when they come in and they get to put their hands on everything, even before they've tried it on. When I'm at our store openings, I love seeing people's surprise, I guess, when they come in and they start touching everything. And people have said to me, no offense, Brittney, but like I'm blown away by the quality of your pieces. And I take that as a massive compliment. It's our amazing product that really is the cherry on top to the whole experience in our stores. And I think it's the consistency of that has also equated to our continued success and our customer loyalty. I feel like a lot of our customers can really shop with confidence. Just say they come in store once and they try everything on, like they've worked out their size. They then feel comfortable coming back in again, or they feel comfortable going and ordering online because we've hit all those nails on the head and will continue to do so. So being consistent in everything that you do, the way that we do, is really important to that continued success.
I think like going back to what you're saying about people coming into the store and you see their faces kind of light up when they feel the quality. Like I just feel like me as a consumer, people are so used to ordering something online and getting it. And the photos have been deceptive. The quality is just shit. Like a lot of, there's such shit stuff that you just send back because it's flimsy and it's got threads and it's going to fall apart.
Yeah. I think
that's what the people are used to now.
Yes.
So it is a surprise.
Yeah. And they come in our store and they're like, oh my God, this all feels amazing. Like this is beautiful. And that's one thing I guess I don't talk about enough is we don't cheap out on anything when it comes to our products. Like I will always pick the most expensive fabric and I'm always like, for fuck's sake, like that's the one that I like. That's the one I want to use. But quality is something that I will never like, I don't know what the right word is, but I will never
scrimp on or like cut. You won't cut
I'll never cut our quality to save money. Like I always am paying the most premium price for our fabrics and our pieces because I know the value in doing that. And I guess same goes for the service that we offer in store. Like, again, people are scarred from shopping online and people are also probably scarred from shopping in stores. Like, I've walked into 1 billion stores in my lifetime, done loops and loops and loops and loops around the store and not even being greeted. I hate to say it, but that has happened in our retail stores before and I'm not bloody happy about it. Like, I don't want to be sitting here on this podcast painting a picture that we are perfect because at the end of the day, everyone is human. And yeah, we've definitely had our fair share of fuck ups in our retail stores. That's just the reality of it. But the retail stores are just something really special.
And then I think with the quality, when you buy something online, you wait and you wait and you wait and you're so excited to get your like package and you might be going out that weekend and you've been banking on wearing what you've bought. So then there's nothing worse than the letdown of opening it up and you're like, no, I've just got to go to the post office and return it. Or and seeing what the photos look like and then what you get being accurate.
I don't know why brands do that. Like people are often also surprised, like with our sizing at FAYT. People are like, I bought my usual size, but like it's too big actually. And then I had to like size down because another thing that brands do is intentionally make things really small because then they're saving money on fabric costs. But I'm like, why would you do that? Like you're creating so many problems for yourself because you're going to increase your returns. So we're just so passionate about all these things, like our sizing, the quality, the service, like the whole fucking package. And as controversial as it is for us to not have KPIs in retail, it works. It works for us. I'm not saying that it'll work for everyone. Who knows? In 5 years' time, I might have KPIs for some reason. You can change your mind about things. But so far, us having no KPIs in store has proven that it works. It doesn't mean that we don't measure our success. We know what our stores are doing every day in terms of sales. We know when they're having a quieter day or a quieter period, but we're not going to then go to the manager of that store and be like, oi, why aren't you fucking making this much money every day? Like I would never do that. I would never want to put that kind of pressure on our team. Like I want to say we never will. Who knows? We might have KPIs one day, but for now it is absolutely working for us and everything else that we do makes up for those missing KPIs, but they're not bloody missing. We've never needed them. Well, my friends, that is another episode of Big Business. I've really loved recording this. I'm loving being able to share all of this stuff with you all. I know I talk on my Instagram stories all the time about business, but having this podcast platform where I can just talk about this stuff in depth is my absolute favourite thing. And thank you so much for all the love on Big Business so far. I know we're still just getting started, but I'm absolutely loving Every minute of it. I'm going to leave you with my business life personal tip of the week. My tip of the week is for all of you business owners and entrepreneurs out there. Success isn't always measured in numbers. And we need to remember to stop and celebrate the small things, like a customer shopping with you and giving you an amazing review. It doesn't mean they had to have spent $184.23 to hit the KPI. Maybe they came in and they spent $30 and had an amazing time and they gave you a great review. Make sure you subscribe to my podcast if you aren't already. And if you haven't hit me with a 5-star review yet, I would absolutely appreciate it. I have new episodes coming out every Monday, and I now have bonus episodes on Wednesday, so be sure to check those out. And I'm going to leave you with that. Remember to chase after your dreams as if they owe you money.